I could play b6, and then I could go king b5, f4, king c5, f3, king d6, which will attack the knight. King knight f5. I'm missing that little move there. Hello everyone, International Master Emil Stefanov back at it again. This is weekly scenario number 4 in Noctie, and I am going to walk you through it. Let's get started. As always, if you wish to try out this position for yourself, follow the link in the description. Alrighty, let's take a look at the position. We are continuing our topic on material imbalance. In this situation, what we do have is 3 pawns for a minor piece, in this case, the knight. Now, if we count the total amount of pawns, then white has 6 pawns, black only has 3 pawns, and they're all a little bit scattered, which does help us. Now, we do have to figure out if we're going to be playing for a win or we're going to be playing for a draw. One of the only ways we actually lose this position is if we allow one of these 3 pawns to become a pass pawn and be able to be promoted. Most likely, I am thinking that we would be able to exchange either the F or the H pawn for one of our pawns with one of these types of pushes, maybe with G5, F4, H5, G6, that sort of thing, which only leaves to be concerned about the A5 pawn. So in actuality, we could try to go for B4, maybe brute force the pawn trade. Of course, if black plays AB4, then we're going to be in a lovely position. We don't have to worry about the queen side and any pass pawns on that side of the board. So our king could probably focus in the center and on the king side. The only drawback, though, is if you pay attention, after b4, I'm assuming Noctie is going to play a4. And with that little move, essentially Noctie is going to establish the a4 pawn as a pass pawn. So instead, what we have to do is probably try to take this pawn with our king, try to go on this journey to take the pawn, because then we're going to have 2 connected pass pawns. As we can see, we have one pass pawn here in the center, but it's by itself. If we make another pass pawn on this side of the board, it will still be by itself because there are 3 pawns on the king side versus 2. So our only winning chance is really if we take this pawn with our king and then try to use the 2 connected pass pawns together. Of course, Noctie is not going to just sit around. Making this journey with the king is a long one. We are going to be taking a lot of tempos with the king, and Noctie might be trying to take one of these pawns and potentially make its own pass pawn. Okay? Let's see how the game's going to develop. Now, I think the very first move we want to play is king d4. I'm going to show later why b4 is a mistake, but let's first start with king d4. Now, Noctie plays a4, so it does make our journey a little bit easier. So king c5 and king b4. And that is still our go. So we're going to go for it. We're going to play king c5. Noctie says it's a good move. Green move, always a good thing. Okay? So king c5. Let's see what Noctie does. Knight to f7. Okay. Noctie is, as predicted, trying to go for the pawn. So it's trying to go for this pawn, trying to attack the g4 pawn. And really now we have to calculate. If we go king b4, knight e5, king takes a4, knight takes f3. I'm assuming we go king b5. It gets really tricky because, yeah, the knight could try to take this pawn and really just brute force f5 or h5, just trying to make a pass pawn. And I don't really know who wins the race. That looks a little bit too on the edge for me. So I'm going to play f4. Just make sure that the knight can't jump there. So it's a green move. That's fine by me. Let's see what Noctie does now. So, okay, knight h6 attacks our g4 pawn. We definitely don't want to lose that. We want to play g5, which will also maybe force a trade between the pawns. Okay, so we're also attacking the knight. So if fg5, I have to think which pawn I take with. I could take with the f pawn and make sure I'm making the pass pawn with h5. Oh, okay, Noctie shocks me a little bit. Knight to f5. Okay, so essentially, if I take gf6, then I'm doubling my pawns. And as I already talked, about it, we will be making a pass pawn for Noctie for free. After knight h4, it looks like our pawn's very close to promotion, but after knight g6, knight f8, the knight's always stopping that pawn, and then the h-pawn is going to roll down the board. So we definitely don't want to be allowing this, so we want to play h5. As you can see, a great move. It was a very needed move. Let's see what Noctie does now. And it might be, okay, knight g3, attacking the pawn. Okay, so this is where calculation is really going to be important. And this is where the knight is so tricky. So I can already see a potential g6, h takes g6, and maybe h6, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, Noctie won't be able to stop me from h7, and then I only have one more square I need to go to h8 to promotion. However, after g6, hg6, h6, this is why the knight is tricky. It's going to give me a check, and then it's going to go to d6, and then after h7, it's going to stop me. And again, after g6, if I don't take the pawn, there's going to be a pawn on g6. So after h6, as I mentioned, knight check, then knight d6, then knight f7 blocks me, and then the two pawns are going to support one another and make a pass pawn. We definitely need to take h takes g6. Okay. Now Noctie has to stop this pass pawn. I'm assuming knight f5 or knight h5. That's the other move. But essentially, Noctie has to stop this pawn. Otherwise, yeah, we just win. Knight h5 is the preferred move by Noctie. Now, don't get tricked, okay? If we play f5, it looks impressive, but really it's just another pawn that Noctie could pick up with the knight, and the knight will still be blocking g7. So knight f4 is actually not a threat in this position, because then g7, and then there are no checks with the knight. So what I'm assuming we do is we kind of just go for the pawn. I think that it is time that we go for the pawn. Don't get fooled with this f5. Don't get fooled with this d6 either, because now actually the knight will have a check. Knight e6, knight g7. So I think it's time we go for, yeah, king b5. Excellent move. We have to start going for the a4 pawn and seeking our own counterplay in this manner. So let's see what Noctie does. Now, I'm assuming knight g7 to block the pawn. King e8. Very interesting. Okay. So, okay, I see Noctie's idea, right? So Noctie's idea is very obvious. If king a4, Noctie wants to take this pawn on f4, which will in turn, then I would be attacking both of these pawns. And if g7, the king now is going to be closer to stopping the pawn. So king f7, and after d6, knight e6. And again, the knight blocks this pawn, the king blocks this pawn. Nobody's going to stop the f-pawn. I think that is Noctie's idea. But we could play pawn to d6. King d7, king a4, king d6, king b5. I mean, we're basically back in this, or sorry, king e6, a4, knight f4, a5, knight d5, a6. Yeah, I mean, basically it gets complex, right? But I think we're faster. So I think we just play d6. Yeah, great move. I think king e8 was a mistake. I'm not sure why. Noctie was trying to play for a win, but maybe instead of that, Noctie could have tried to go for my pawns. f5, okay, logical. Noctie is trying to ensure that it's going to have knight f4 and try to go for the pawns. But, okay, if I just take knight f4, very important, I'm going to play d7, actually distract the king, and then the king won't be able to stop both pawns. So actually, I think I'm winning. After king a4, I believe that we are simply winning. King d7, okay, so if knight takes f4 there, we were going to have d7, distract the king, and then g7. Here, after king d7, we could play king b5, and after knight f4, there are no checks against our king. g7 is simply going to be winning. And after king takes d6, I think we just start pushing the pawn. I'm trying to push the a pawn and not the b pawn because it's further away from the knight, and I think that's the way to go about it. I think that's really the way to go about it. So king b5, great move. Just go for it. King d6. Now really is the deal. Do I play a4 or do I play king b6? But again, I'm going to get checked, and then there's going to be some knight e7. The king cannot be checked. Keep pushing the pawn. If knight f4, g7, there are no checks. We're doing good. King c7 is a mine. Don't go to that square. Again, the same logic. Knight f4, and 96 is going to be a check. So keep pushing the pawn. That's all we could do. Keep pushing the pawn. A4, A5. Knight G7. Okay, Noctie doesn't really have anything to do. Okay, now King C7, 96 would be a check, and then there will be another check. Okay, so don't bother. Don't even bother. Let's play B4, right? Okay, green move. That's what we like to see. I'm assuming we could play King C4. Avoid the squares that we're gonna give up the pawn with a check. So King C4, Knight F4, G7. No way to stop that. I could also play A6, but the king is kind of there, so I can't really. Well, actually, I didn't consider King A6. That might be an interesting idea. Oh, but again, the B6 square is a mine. After King B8, King B6, again, the same problem is Knight F4, Knight D5, Knight E7. Stopping this pawn. So I think I'm gonna play King C4. Excellent, beautiful. Okay, we avoid the bomb that is Knight King C5 because there was Knight F4, Knight E6 check, and now we just need to make sure our king can sort of come in on the king side, take the pawn, and really win the game. But first, we can play B5. Just make sure that these pawns are controlling the enemy king. Now the decision is: do we play B6? Again, don't play King C5. Knight F4. Don't play King C5. Okay, Knight F4 is still there. If B6, King C6, I'm not quite sure how we win now. Yeah, this is a little bit tricky for sure. A little bit tricky. King D4, I would like to play, but then there's Knight takes F4 and G7, Knight E6 again. Oh man, I think we're so close to the victory, but I don't quite see it. I don't quite see it. Maybe there's a way in which we could. Yeah, don't go King C3. Same problem. Knight takes F4. And B6, there's King C6. That's really the problem. But what about A6? What about A6? King B6, King B4. Knight takes G7. Check. I would avoid all the checks. But then there's again this little king, Knight E7. Okay, so I don't really have that move either. Okay, but I think I have a very interesting solution. If A6, King B6, King B3, just be very annoying. Avoid all the checks, and then basically after the king moves back, either to A7 or C7, we go King A3, and basically after King B6, we go back to A4, and then A5, and then B6. I think that might be the solution. I'm not even kidding. I think that might be the solution because B4 is a square I don't want to go to. C5 is the square I don't want to go to. The only other way is B6 and then do the same little trick. It might work. It might work. But I think A6. Okay, green move. I will take that. And then King B3. Not King. Oh, mistake. Okay. Oh, no. Excellent. Okay. I think Noctie realized. I think he realized that this was an excellent move. Okay. Knight G7. Oh, but I forgot that the knight could just move. Yeah. I kind of forgot about that, didn't I? Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. The king is now obligated to move at all. And yeah, I don't have a way. I could play King C3. I could actually play King C3, King D2. Wait, hold up. My king could actually start coming towards the king side. Yeah, King C3. Okay, there we go. We're slowly starting to Knight E6. Just make sure not to go in the directions of the checks, which sounds easier than it seems. But King C4, Knight F4, there's G7, no checks. And yes, King A7 was forced. King D5, there's Knight F4. Okay. Oh man, we're so close. King B4, I think Noctie will still take a Knight D5 check. King C5, or King A5. Knight will block B6. King will go back, and I don't quite see the checkmate. King B5, F4. Yeah, I don't see it. King C5, F3, King D6, F2, King E7. Wait. Hold up. I actually almost have it. Well, hold up. This is very interesting. Okay. So King B4 takes G7, check, only move to stop the pawn. King C5, only move to stop the pawn is really Knight F6 or Knight E7. I'm considering knight e7 because it controls the c6 square as well. Actually, sorry, not king a5. Not king c5, king a5. So I could play b6, and then I could go king b5, f4, king c5, f3, king d6, which will attack the knight. King knight f5. I'm missing that little move there. And then after king c6, knight g7. But wait, hold up. I'm almost up to checkmate. I feel like I'm so close to the checkmate and yet so far away, but I think that line is winning. Even if it looks crazy, we can always go take back. So how about we experiment with this? Okay, excellent. We're on the right track. We're never... Oh, man, king b6. I forgot about that move. Oh, man, we forgot about that move. Yeah, didn't we? Yeah, we just forgot about that. Okay, maybe we go back. Maybe let's go take back. Take back. Okay, maybe this is the moment where we actually need to consider... Maybe a6 is the mistake. Maybe that's what we're missing. Okay, I think that's probably what we're missing here. So there's no way after b6 to force the enemy king, and king c5 fails. How does it actually fail again? King c5, knight f4, g7, there's knight e6. Is there a world in which, maybe even after a6, king b6, I just go ahead and try to start walking my king this way? Because essentially I might just win the game if I just do that. Let me test it. Okay, I'm going to still play king a6. Let me go king b3 or something like that. I know it said a mistake, but later it said excellent. Okay, so same thing. Okay, so now let me start walking this way. So king c3. Okay, and then I saw knight e6, and then we play king c4. So we would be back in the same spot, but let me actually go king d2. Okay, I think I figured it out. I can't take king e3, and then start basically walking this way. I think that's my goal. Oh, but even if I go all the way to h5, there's simply knight f4. Oh, man. Oh, man, we were so close. I actually thought we almost had it. Wait. Maybe I have a different solution. Maybe I'm thinking about this too one-dimensional. Okay, I think I know my mistake. I think maybe this is still winning. I'm not sure, but I think I know my mistake. It's all the way over here. What if I go king a6? There we go. What if I go king a6? Now I'm trying to be annoying. Yes, that has to be played. Don't go there because the same thing happens where there's a check. But first play b5. And now the king has to stay there. Otherwise king a7 I promote. Okay, now we go king b6. Okay, knight e6. This will be a threat. And if I go king c6, knight takes f4, g7, then there's the bizarre little move knight g6. But after king to d6, there's no way. Actually, I have g8 checks. Okay, so king c6 is a good move. Okay, there it is. The enemy king has been pushed all the way. And okay, now it's winning. Okay, there we go. We actually finally figured it out. It's just about, yes, there we go. Okay. We figured it out, guys. We figured it out. We just had to take back a few times. Okay. For a second, I was like, don't promote a queen. It's stalemate, but there is king a7. So, okay. Almost blundered, but not quite there. Yeah. Okay, let's give a check. And let's give a check on what's the fastest way to checkmate here. King has one square, so let's go ahead and play a6. And force queen c6, queen b7, checkmate. There we have it. All right, that's how we did it, guys. Just to mention, as I said in the beginning, why b4 is a bad move. b4 is a bad move because after we play b4, Noctie will play a4, and now Noctie gets this very annoying knight b5 and knight takes a3 counterattack towards our pawn. The idea with b4 is nice on the surface. We want to get rid of the a5 pawn so there's no more counterplay on the queen side. but we really should not be playing b4. Now, if we wanted to, we could play a4 and basically try to do king c3, b4, maybe trade that pawn, or potentially we could try to play king c4, king b5, take the pawn, and kind of the same logic, but it does get very messy. So I think the easiest way, as I showed in the previous example, is just to go king d4, try to collect that pawn. There's nothing that Noctie can do. If Noctie tries to go with king c7, block us on this side of the board, then potentially we could try to utilize the king on the other side of the board with some h5, f4, g5, etc., etc. So, good luck in your games.